Detectives with the King County Sheriff's Office have had a great success this year solving some highly complex cold cases, despite not actually having a cold case unit.
Yeah, really bringing justice to a lot of families. Now the department is using that momentum from the recent arrest to try to get leads in more cases, and they still need your help to solve the haunting murder of a teenage girl. Q13's Olivia Lavoie has that story.
It was a cold January morning 47 years ago. 16-year-old Nancy Jane Liptrap did something she did every day. She left her Des Moines home to head to Mount Rainier High School, but she never made it there.
She was abducted a short distance away from her house, and she was dragged into a field where she was found.
Nancy Jane's case is one of over 300 King County cold cases at the Sheriff's Department. And while Major Crimes Detective Johnny Hawkins is working the case, it's one of many he's juggling. And he's not alone, because the department's cold case unit was cut years ago. Cold cases are now only worked by major crimes detectives in their downtime, which isn't much.
They do all of the homicides, they do all the violent crimes, all robberies, anything related. They also work on missing person cases, so they have a ton of work that they have to do.
The major crimes unit is made up of 11 detectives that at any given time are working roughly 30 recent cases each, on top of 1 or 2 cold cases. It's a tremendous amount of work, but somehow they're managing. In this year alone, detectives made arrests in 4 cold cases that each had huge challenges, including a case where the victim's body was never found, and another case where investigators had to use genealogy to identify their suspect. Sergeant Abbott attributes some of the department's recent breakthroughs with cold cases to the lower rate of new homicides. Last year, county major crimes detectives had 29 homicides. This year so far, they've had about half of that, 14. So they've had a little extra time for the cold files, though not much.
Just because these cases go in our cold case library doesn't mean we're never going to work them again. I mean, ultimately, we'd love to have a cold case unit.
In the meantime, while the department doesn't have the funding for a cold case unit, detectives are getting creative to try to bring in new leads. One of the tools they're utilizing is this deck of cards. The deck features 52 of the department's cold cases, and the details of many are harrowing. Not really what you'd think would go hand in hand with playing a game. But the idea behind the cards is to give them out to inmates in the prisons, in hopes that maybe, let's say during a game of blackjack, someone will realize they know something. As detectives renew the hunt for Nancy Jane's murderer, they've turned to social media to ask for tipsters' help. What they know for sure so far, the teenage girl was brutally assaulted and shot. But her family tells us she is remembered for much more than her horrific death. They like to think about her love of playing guitar and being a great writer. She had dreams of becoming a newscaster one day and was working hard in school to make it happen before her life was ripped away. You may hold the information to finally give her family answers.
Sometimes it ends up being just a little tip that can really lead into several different leads for detectives, and that's the type of stuff that we need.
Olivia Lavoie, Q13 News.
Well, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound offering a cash reward of $1,000 for any tip that leads to an arrest in the murder of Nancy Jane Liptrap.
Yeah, and you'll remain anonymous. Submit what you know on p3tips.com or by using the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Help this family get some closure finally, especially during the holidays when you tend to miss your relatives the most. Again, you can also call 1-800-222-TIPS.
Well, today, President Trump created a new task